When I stood before you 3 months ago, I came hoping we could all work together to build a better, stronger, more dynamic CAN-TV. We came with the spirit of compromise and working together. Unfortunately, many of the employees in the bargaining unit don't feel that same spirit from management. In the past 3 months, employees have received official reprimands for minuscule time clock infractions, like clocking in 1 minute late, or even clocking in less than 10 minutes early. 2 employees have been suspended in the past 3 months, when in the past 15 years, no employee had ever been suspended for any infraction. One of these employees had her keys taken and was escorted from the building from her manager as if she were being terminated. As far as union activities go, we have definitely had our ability to assemble and investigate issues infringed upon. The reason I'm here today is to request that the retaliatory treatment stop and the lines of communication be opened between the board of directors and the employees so that all 3 of us, the board, management, and the bargaining unit, can get on the same track and we can all focus on making a better CAN-TV for the producers. Yes, we have a new facility, a new building, but for many of the employees, the attitude and culture here at CAN is still very much the same, which is why we voted 17-2 to organize in the first place. We owe it to all of these producers to come together to make the best CAN-TV possible. Thank you.
I feel like I've been a victim of management's attempt to maintain a certain amount of control that is unnecessary here. It feels like if they're in control of everything, then they would rather that you would go. So my hours have been reduced to 9.5 hours, and mine aren't even the lowest. So it's 9.5 hours a week, which is impossible to live on. Actually, someone's just resigned because they got a job at a new place, which is, I'm sure, the point of that, because his hours were pretty much the same as mine. So you can't live on that, and you can't be expected to live on that. But now there's one less person in the union. So I personally have brought a discrimination case against the management at CAN-TV, and it hasn't been investigated yet, so I'm trying to get that investigated, and that's public knowledge if anybody wanted to know it. But since I've filed that discrimination case, we've also received a new handbook. Now, a new handbook in the middle of negotiating a contract is, I won't even say the word that I'm thinking, but not only that, the new handbook also trounces on our civil liberties. I mean, there are things in this handbook that police can't do to you on the street or even in this building. And then at the end of all of these new policies, it says, at management's discretion, which means we can single you out if we want to. Fall in line or be singled out, okay? I have issue with almost everything that's in this new handbook. And so I don't know if the board has seen it. I don't know if you guys had to pass it, but I actually have a copy if you would like it. So this is the new handbook. It can't leave the building for confidentiality reasons, so you have to return it to me. And now I'm on a 4.5 hour shift, and I only get 30 minutes for lunch, for dinner, so I'm gonna go eat, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name is Janelle White. I have been a part-time, 20-plus hourly employee here at CAN-TV for 14.5 years. I was nominated and elected to the contract negotiating team. I welcome the opportunity to have a seat at the table to advocate and shed light on the ongoing unfair treatment myself and other CAN-TV workers are subjected to. Since I began working at CAN-TV in 2001, I've completed a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. I went on to teach at the collegiate level for 8 years. However, none of these accomplishments have been acknowledged by CAN-TV management, and they certainly aren't reflected in my pay. Myself and several of the 18 bargaining unit members, some of which you heard from earlier tonight and are still here, some of us are declared as living in poverty by the state of Illinois, like legally declared as living in poverty by the state of Illinois. We are not adequately compensated for the work that we do. We make a small fraction of what other industry professionals make in comparable positions. And on the contrary, CAN-TV management collectively pays themselves hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, significantly more than managers in similar industry positions. The 5 highest CAN-TV manager salaries are public record. They total nearly $600,000. This pay inequality is the very definition of corporate greed. CAN-TV receives millions annually from a percentage of cable companies' revenues and grants, etc. So there's no excuse for underpaying staff, reducing scheduled hours, as in the case of Renee and Jonah, who's moved on, or threats of layoffs. I mean, you're funded, so that should cover the cost of operating expenses, and the last time I checked, payroll is an operating expense. There should be pay equality and opportunities for all workers for advancement and career longevity right here. Many of the workers at CAN-TV do not feel valued or respected. The culture of CAN-TV must change, and you, the board of directors, now have an opportunity to be the agents of that much-needed change. We humbly ask that you consider the needs and concerns of the workers at CAN-TV. As the unit who supervises the managers at CAN-TV, your involvement is needed for the improvement to take place. And on that note, thank you for your time and your willingness to hear our concerns tonight. We welcome the opportunity to continue the conversation.
Nonprofit deserve the credit for any technical prowess we get. But we have been with CAN-TV for about a decade now, and I was frankly shocked when I heard some of the things about what's going on with the people that I work closely with and other people in the building. I was shocked because what I was hearing sounded very reminiscent of what goes on about 20 blocks east of here at UPS. Anyone that knows about management at UPS and how they treat their union workers, they bark at their employees. They write them up for 1 minute late nonsense, literally kindergarten stuff like that. And that may work in that kind of production environment. I'm not convinced it does, but it may. But in a creative environment, that's just poison. That's just poison. I mean, you're asking people to not only think creatively and really give of their souls in terms of what they do and making our product, our rough product, so much better through their work, but you're asking them to do it at wages you cannot live on in Chicago. I was shocked when I heard what a few of the people who work here make, and I thought, boy, if their spouses are making the same amount, oh, forget it about having kids and forget about having any kind of decent standard of a living. And many of them are college degreed and the rest of it. It was just shocking. And so clearly there has to be something done in terms of certainly the lowest people's wages, certainly the hours. I mean, this is a city that we're fighting for a $15 an hour minimum wage, and I'm sure they don't make that, not by any stretch of the imagination. And so that's just got to change. I mean, people would not be going through the difficulty it takes in this day and age to form a union unless they saw things were really, really in trouble. And the board has got to recognize that. When I heard that the union was being formed, I was approached by both union people as well as management. And management was saying to me, what can we do to make this better? I said, treat the union fairly. Don't do all the sort of nasty, dirty tricks that we hear about in union organizing drives right around the country that are so common these days. And unfortunately, that's precisely what's going on. That has got to stop. It's just poison for this facility. It could destroy this facility. Okay? And so the board has got to take responsibility, has got to talk to management and say, cut it out. These people are making next to nothing already. They need to be treated with dignity and respect. And that will benefit all of us here, whether we're producers or whatever.